did I have a penis in my diaper, man? You know what I'm saying? And first he was trying to be like, evasive. I was like, say, you know what I'm saying? My mom ain't here no more, man. It ain't nothing for you to hide. And so he told me, yeah. But my mother was they were both ashamed, because their parents was, he was like in the military, and so his parents, like, how they want to see their grandkid, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But they didn't want the parents to know, so they yeah, so they hid that and kind of moved around, so the grandmamas and stuff didn't get a chance to see me, you know, and so basically everything was totally hidden. I would hear about hermaphrodites, because that was the derogatory name and word
at the time
that they used to describe me at that time. I mean, it was a medical term, but then it was derogatory to make us go run and hide. They wanted us to disappear. They wanted to do that surgery to erase what was going on. They wanted to make you either one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was important for you to be accepted in society. I even sent you, some of that literature. I got more to send though.
Okay.
But how their thought process was to be accepted in society was to be one gender or the other.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
And by this not being a choice, then I was my mother. She really hated it. And of course I did things to try to make my mom love me, but you know what I'm saying, she that was a big thing to her. So she threw me out into the streets, and I had to sleep on roofs of school.
I know you was telling me that, man. You was telling me that,
safety,
brother. Yeah.
you know. Um, yeah, and so I did that. I slept in some parks and things like that. And I met some people too that weren't so nice, right? But mostly I ran into the LGBTQ community. And so with that, they were the ones that took me in to help me, get out the elements. And they was the only ones that had any kind of resources. Right? Answers right off. I didn't know if I was transsexual or what,
Right.
I'm just like, but I'm happy to be indoors, and a meal. So, but as I got older, I started to, and I got answers. I started to understand that I really was both sex.
Mm.
And I started to, learn how to love myself, because my mother would call me an abomination, that I wasn't a child of God, beatings and all that good stuff. So imagine me growing up like that, and the gang members on one side beating the break dust out of me when I go outside, and me getting it when I get home. You know what I mean? And so eventually I turned to gangs, and I was accepted there. Of course, I had a lot of talents, being that that I can squab real good, and I was meaner than a junkyard dog,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they showed me loyalty, you know what I'm saying? So of course I was all in, right? That was my family.
Mm-hmm.
And after I did what I did there, then and I'm just fast tracking this.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So after all of that happened,
I got
then
questions.
I was trying to go to college. Yeah, I was trying to go to college, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I said I'm letting you finish, brother. I said I'm gonna have some questions.
You said you had a question?
I said I'm gonna have some for you.
All right, no So okay, that's cool. And so fast tracking that, I did get problematic because I had to deal with life.